Over 250 PCA members joined us for the 33rd annual PCA Tech Tactics events in Easton, Pennsylvania. Attendees participated in our first die-cast model concours, toured Porsche's distribution facility, gained knowledge from a host of technical seminars, and the highlight of the day was meeting Porsche sports car designer Tony Hatter. We thought we'd share with you a bit of Tony's presentation. Enjoy!
To show you what we just talked about and then how the 911 differs to the Cayman. So is this coming up on the screen? Okay. So let's do the front fender, and the front fender then dives back down again. The rear fenders also have a curvature and dive back down towards the middle of the car. I'll just draw the silhouette. The silhouette goes down to the back of the car. Perhaps a bit more. But I do a little lesson in designer speak. What I'm drawing now is what we call the DLO. Does anybody know what the DLO is? The daylight opening. Unbelievable. That's what the whole world call the side graphic of the windows. The DLO. So the Cayman has a very distinctive DLO. A bit like that. And it's got this nice kick up at the back. So then, and that's the windscreen, A-pillar. So the fenders disappear into the doors. And when we look at the model of the car, and this real car in this case, you see that we've even detailed the tops of the fenders, and they're not just round. The predecessor had very round fenders. These ones are a bit more structured, but on the inside of these fenders, there are some hard creases, which we think is very nice. It kind of gives some structure to the fenders. Designers always love to put the biggest wheels possible on their sketches. You know, the designers cheat, even when they're working on packages, and it's difficult to cheat on a package or on the computer, but they do, because it's a competitive world, and they just want to get their designs chosen. So if they do the huge wheels and say, yeah, and the sketch looks better than the poor guy who's got the right size wheels, he's probably going to lose out. See, it's a bit like motorsport. You've got to find an unfair advantage somewhere. So that's what happens. So and there's the scalloped intake. There's the rear, what we call in German the Abrisskanter, but it's basically the trailing edge that goes right into the tail lights. We have a plastic rocker panel, so there's some shut lines that you won't have seen on the Boxster or the Cayman before at the back. Rather prominent headlights, prominent air opening with these killer veins here. So, but anyway, what I wanted to just emphasize was that's like the direction of the Cayman. Then if we want to take a 911, the 911 has much simpler lines. We start off again with the front fender, but what it doesn't do is go back down again. Am I in the picture? Yeah. It carries on right to the back here and becomes the DLO. So you've got this line, top of the fender. We used to call them cannon tubes, you probably do as well. The old 911s had very prominent cannon tubes. And typically that's the 911 DLO. Then you've got the windscreen, and the car is towards the rear because it's rear engine. It's bigger at the back, longer overhang. It's got even bigger wheels because it's the 911. So The 911 is different. It's different graphically, it's different in the way the fenders all move around, but if you draw lines and sections through these fenders, you again find very soft structural forms. Just like on the C7, but they're the same but different. I said C7 there. C7 was our internal code name for the Cayman. Don't ask me why. It sounds like a Corvette, but don't ask me why.
Doesn't sound like it.
There's another thing that designers love to do is put reflections all over the cars, because ideally these cars are painted high gloss, so they reflect, and you never really see what's going on a car. If it was a matte car, there's a model of a matte 997 out there, a matte color. It doesn't have any reflections whatsoever. It could be made out of chipboard. You can't see any reflections in it or any tonal changes. So it's always nice to put as if the car's reflecting whatever's on the ground here, and that's why you might get the wheels reflected if it's a wet day. Auto Kennel always wet the ground when they photograph their cars for sale, and it makes it look much more spectacular. So that's what I wanted to say. I'm coming off the point. So we've got these two distinct kind of shapes. C7 has this beautiful lozenge shape to the side graphic, and the 911 is tradition. Something else I talked about yesterday.
The 911, that shape, you could take any of the 911
That was it. Yeah, I just wanted to make the point. Okay, I won't ruin that. But an earlier 911 had, of course, much more upright headlights. Much more upright windscreen, and then it went down to the back, and then the roof kind of stopped, and then you got the rear window, and it goes right down to the back. So the 901, of course, and then it has. If you just put this in there as well, put in the old traditional. I made it a bit short, unfortunately. The old 911 greenhouse. It's all in there. Getting a bit blunt. There's two. But anyway, I just wanted to make so that we come from virtually vertical to this sort of form, but it's still all the same sort of stuff. Remember what they look like.